Hi, everybody. Um, Happy Thanksgiving for all those who are watching from the US. For those who don't know who I am, I'm Keisha, creative professional. And today we're actually going to talk about creativity. I haven't talked much about it in this video series, but yeah, we're going to talk about creativity. We're going to talk about inspiration. And I'm going to say I'm sorry in advance to anybody who's not a graphic designer or any sort of designer. I think designers all kind of function roughly the same. So if you're a musician, dancer, writer, these may not apply. You're welcome to stick around. If they apply, I want to know. But I really only kind of know about design. So that could be UX design, graphic design, things like that. I think we all kind of function the same. The foundation of it, we're about the same. So let's talk about inspiration. It's a question I get a lot, especially when I'm mentoring people or people are asking me questions about how to do what I do. And honestly, I think people think it's magic. Like I just have sparks of inspiration constantly, and that's not really the way inspiration comes. It happens. We're going to talk about how to like kind of create environments where it happens a little bit more at the end. But I don't want you to rely on that because that's not something that happens often. So let's talk about like practical ways to find inspiration. And I think if you're a designer, you already know how to find visual things to kind of stimulate thinking. So you already have your sites, your dribbles, your Pinterest, your, wherever you like to look for visual inspiration. But I'm not really talking about that. I'm talking about how to take that and actually use it. So the number one way I use it is to kind of take all that in and kind of do visual inspiration overload in a way. And really, as I'm looking at these things, I'm sort of taking note of like, this thing feels right. I found this piece of inspiration. It felt right. And then I try and dissect like what felt right. Was it the type? Was it the color? Was it the balance? Was it the color or the white space? Is it the ratio? Like, what is it about that thing that I think works to solve whatever creative solution that I'm trying to solve? And then I keep going because you never want one source of inspiration. That's stealing. You don't want to do that. I consider designers remixers. Sort of like hip hop. We take sources of inspiration, and I think a lot of musicians do this from all different places. Hip hop in particular, we take it from all different genres. And so with that, you don't want one source of inspiration because again, that's stealing. And we don't want to steal. What we want to do is take all these things and create something new. So the way to do that, this is how I do it. I take in all that information and I'm taking note as I go. And sometimes I'll save them to my desktop. Sometimes I'll pin them to a temporary board on Pinterest. I have like a current projects that's hidden from everybody that only I can see. And I'll just go in there and like delete them when I'm done. But I'll do that and I'll have all my inspiration in one spot or just take mental notes of it. And then honestly, you may not want to hear this, but it's this little guy. And it's this. I mean, I don't like lines because I don't like rules, but I mean, that's it. You just sit down and you sketch it out. And you don't touch your computer unless it's to look at those images again. And you're just focusing on the problem at hand. You know your content, you know what you're trying to convey, you know the message, because your message is in your content is way more important than what it looks like. And it's the king. It's the thing that you're trying to get across to the audience. So that's your problem. Like, how can I convey this thing depending on my medium? Is it social media? How do I get people to stop? How do I get you to stop scrolling? If it's print and say it's at a exhibit, how do I get you to stop walking and want to pick up that thing? Or say, maybe you're just kind of walking, you're like, ooh, what's that over there? Like, I need to capture your interest in some way. And you very much need to know your setting and the creative problem you're trying to solve. You're trying to cut through the noise, right? So sit down, sketch. Another way to do that is to create comfortable spaces. So music. I usually lean on music that I know. So all the stuff I grew up with, I know all the words to, I know all the ad libs. If I knew how to play the instruments, I could probably play it for you. Like, it's just part of me. And so I don't have to think about the music. It's just kind of there and creating like this comfortable space. I also learned in college, this is when I didn't know I had ADHD, that that when a professor was talking, if I just sit there and sketch, which I thought was like a mindless thing, I don't really think about sketching when I do it, I just kind of do it. If this is your style, try this. If I sketch and listen to somebody talk, so say your task is to create a book cover for a book, and you have the audiobook version of it, and you just kind of need to listen to this thing in order to like kind of take it all in, and then you can start to sketch and understand, like, because now you understand the story. Okay, cool. The way I would do it, I would get a notepad, I would sketch mindlessly. I think my mom used to do this too when she was on the phone. And that way I can listen to the thing without distraction. I'm not thinking about things around me. When I was in class, I wasn't thinking about the kids or the other students around me. I was really just focused on the audio and what I was doing and just kind of zoning out in that way. And that's where your inspiration is going to come, is like, how can you find ways to zone out? Sometimes that's just going outside and kind of not thinking about things too. However you like to spend time outside. I know it's getting a little colder depending on where you are. For me, it's tending to my plants. It could be riding my bike. It could be going for a walk. I could go to my mom's house and really just kind of unplug. I could go visit a friend. Like, there's plenty of ways for me to just kind of distract myself. I can go walk around Target. It's a good little excuse. But finding ways to kind of zone out or not think about it is another good way to find inspiration, because sometimes you think about it too much and you get stuck. And so you just kind of not think about it for a while. And then you will usually find new ways when you come back to it. You're coming back to it with a fresh mind. So sometimes also talking about it is a good way to find new connections. And that's really what inspiration is. You're finding new connections between things that weren't previously connected in your brain, right? Ideas that weren't connected. So sometimes I'll talk to my spouse and I'm like asking very abstract questions about whatever problem I'm trying to solve. And sometimes just asking the question or saying it out loud, something, and I don't know what it is. It's just like, oh, I didn't think about it that way. Or maybe they'll say something, I'm like, oh, I didn't think about it that way. Okay. And you have a new perspective, and then you can go right back to your sketchbook, sketch out a new idea, and it's just a running list of ideas that you sketched out. Let's talk about sparks, like inspirational sparks. They do happen, but you have to, I think, create an environment for it to happen. That's why, like, shower thoughts are a thing. Like, there's a whole subreddit of like shower thoughts, and it's like these aha moments in the shower, because you aren't distracted. There's nothing else for you to do in the shower other than to shower. And so here's where what I think people don't understand is, like, you gotta be bored. Like, being bored is the best way to get inspired, because you're a creative mind. You're not going to be bored for long. So find ways to be bored, and then you can find your inspiration, or it'll probably find you. So Some people have a hard time with meditation, but that's a good way to kind of turn your mind off. Go take a shower. Go do mindless things or things that clear your mind, and find what clears your mind. And hopefully you can find a way to do that. I don't think everybody has a way to just kind of sit and be bored, but really you got to turn your phone off and you got to walk away from the computer, and you just kind of have to be in the moment. And this is a perfect time to do that, because it's the holidays. If you're in the US, it's Thanksgiving, and you can be in the moment with your family and not think about the problem and come back to it with a fresh mind. Or you may be bored in some instances, just kind of waiting around for things to finish cooking or people to say bye. I know my family sometimes takes a while to say bye. Just be bored and be okay with that. And don't it may be even a good way to audit if you're addicted to your phone too. Like if you're thinking about, I'm bored, I want to pick up my phone, maybe you need like a phone detox. I mean, did one in January. It was awesome. It kind of sucked, but it was awesome. It was a good little detox from social media and a bunch of things. So yeah, you gotta be bored. And that's where sparks come from. And you gotta put yourself in a space, if you're privileged enough, to where you can just create. And I know I like clean. If I could turn this camera around, you could see that it's not clean in here. It looks clean from what you guys can see, but from what I can see, it's a mess. There's like papers and things everywhere. But sometimes the mess creates ideas. Sometimes when it's too clean, you're even distracted because you're like, is it really clean? You know what I mean? Like, so just create in the space you have. That's all it is. Don't think about what it could be, what it should be. Create in the moment and be bored and sketch and use your hands. Don't use your mouse. Use your hands and just create in the most basic analog way. And that's how you find inspiration. And that's how you create new ideas, because inspiration really comes from you. There's no other way to say it. It's just you. So, challenge of the week, be bored. At least be in the moment. Step away from your computer. Hopefully you can. Put your phone down and be in the moment. And when you're bored, embrace it. That's the challenge of the week. If you have other ways of finding inspiration, of creating, please let me know. If you're not a designer and you stayed all the way to the end, I want to know if this was helpful. Please let me know. Yeah, enjoy your holiday. Enjoy your family. If you're not in the US, have a wonderful week. Thank you for hanging out with me. Please remember to share, spread joy, and spread love. And I will see you next week. All right, bye.